Coke versus Pepsi, the ultimate rivalry. But today, we're not just debating taste. Welcome to BOS Filter Wars, where we find out which one actually filters better. So what I have here is a 12-ounce can of Coke and a 12-ounce can of Pepsi. And this is the Brita Metro, currently the best-selling water filter pitcher on Amazon, sitting in the low to mid price range. And inside this Brita Metro is one of two readily primed Brita Elite filter cartridges, the most effective Brita has to offer. And just to be clear, no, this video is not sponsored by Brita, but hey, if someone from Brita is watching, think about it. Okay, so here's the plan. First, we'll filter the Coke through the Brita and hopefully get something close to pure water. And then we'll swap the used filter for the spare one and run the Pepsi through. And then we'll compare our two filtered soda solutions. Now, we'll rate each on a scale from 1 to 10 in these three categories. 1, remaining color. 2, remaining taste, and 3, remaining sugar content. We'll add up the 3 scores, and because a lower score means pure water, the solution with the lower total wins. And by the way, aside from this being entertaining, hopefully, there's actually a pretty good reason why filtering soda could be a smart way to evaluate water filters. Contaminants like disinfection byproducts, pesticides, and trace pharmaceuticals are commonly found in our water supplies these days, and they're all organic compounds. And because of how common these are, water filters like Brita should be effective at removing them. And soft drinks, well, aside from water, they're basically made of organic compounds, right? Sugar, or in this case, high fructose corn syrup, flavorings, caffeine, and even caramel color that gives Coke and Pepsi their dark appearance. So running soda through a water filter could actually serve as a quick, low-cost way to see how well that filter targets organic compounds overall, including the ones lurking in your tap water. So ideally, the drink should come out lighter, less sweet with reduced flavor and sugar content. However, there's a tiny catch. This will absolutely ruin your filter. But hey, that's why we're doing it, so you don't have to. Oh, and to estimate sugar content, we'll be using this little tool, a refractometer, which is usually used in maple syrup, honey, and juice production. All right, let's get started. I'm gonna take this Coke here and I'm gonna pour a little bit into this first glass. Oh, there we go. Just so we get a good before sample to compare later. And then the rest of it is gonna go into this Brita filter. We're gonna see what happens. Okay. So into the Brita you go. I'm just gonna put the whole thing in there. Whoa. I was not expecting it to be this clear, to be honest. Let's see what happens. So it's still got a little bit of color to it. So it looked a lot lighter when it first started filtering through, but now it's looking a little bit darker to me. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know if that's doing much actually. Okay, let's go ahead and pour it in. Okay, there's a difference there. Not a huge difference though. Okay, so there we have it. I mean, I am not gonna score it yet because I'm gonna wait to see how this guy does. Maybe similar, maybe not, I don't know. So next we are going to replace this filter here, and I'll see you in just a sec. All right, with the magic of editing, we are back, and I put the spare Brita filter into the pitcher. It's all primed and ready to go. So now we're gonna try the same exact thing with our Pepsi. So, do a little, that is such a satisfying sound. All right, let's get the before. Nice and fizzy. We're gonna put the remainder into the Brita filter with the newly primed filter cartridge. Oh my gosh, okay. Yeah, it looks clear when it first comes out. That's how the other one started. That's how Coke started. Let's see what happens. Still looking clear, but I do see some color coming through now. So I don't know if the fact that it starts out clear and then slowly gets darker as it continues with the filtration process has anything to do with the fact that the filter cartridge inside is essentially just getting trashed by the soda because these are not meant for this, right? But in either case, it's looking very similar to what the Coke did. So we've got the final little drips here. I'm going to go ahead and pour this in. This is what we're looking at here. All right. Okay. So I'm going to take the filtered one from each. So here's the filtered Coke and hold it up to the light. And here's the filtered Pepsi. Hold that up to the light as well. And they are looking pretty darn close to me. I almost feel like the Pepsi is a little bit lighter. Okay. I'm going to say that Pepsi was a little bit lighter. It does look a little bit lighter to me, and I'm not sure if you guys see that as well. Let me know in the comments what you think. So I'm going to go ahead and say 1 to 10. I'm going to give Coke an 8. And I'm going to give Pepsi a 7, just because it's ever so slightly lighter. Okay. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you agree with me. And now we're going to taste. So let's see, we're going to go with the Coke. Okay, so it's definitely, you know what it tastes like? Have you ever gotten a fountain drink, maybe at a gas station, and you drive around in your car, and then later on you have a sip of it after some of the ice has melted, and that's what it tastes like. It tastes like just like watered down, flat soda. I do taste sugar still. I want to taste the original just to have like an immediate comparison. Yeah, definitely a little sweeter. Definitely a lot fizzier. So this is, yeah, just like flat, watered down Coke is what that tastes like. Okay, let's do Pepsi. Yeah, Pepsi, same thing, tastes like watered down soda. But it does taste less sweet. It does taste like less sweet than the Coke. Let me compare to the original. Yeah, so that's definitely more sweet, more carbonated. And again, flat, watered down Pepsi, but it does taste less sweet than this one. Yeah, let's try back to back. Filtered Coke, filtered Pepsi. Ooh, okay. When I do them back to back, pretty similar. Pretty similar. I'm going to give each of these I'm going to go 7. I'm liking 7. I'm going to go 7 on both the Coke and the Pepsi because after tasting them back to back, I think I still had the taste of the regular Coke when I went to the filtered Pepsi. So I think maybe that's why I was thinking this one had filtered more, but back to back, filtered Coke, filtered Pepsi, they taste very similar. Watered down, flat soda. So 7 for each of these. All right, moving on. Let's move on to sugar content. Let's see how much sugar or high fructose corn syrup the Brita filtered out of the Coke and Pepsi. So here we go, our refractometer. So essentially a refractometer measures sugar content in a liquid by analyzing how light bends as it passes through the liquid. So you just use a dropper, so we have this guy here, to place a drop of liquid on the glass surface here, like that. You close the cover to spread the liquid into a thin film, and then you hold the refractometer to a light source and look through the eyepiece. Inside, you'll see a vertical scale with blue on the top and white on the bottom. So where those two colors meet is your reading. So for example, if the line falls at 10 degrees Brix, that means the liquid contains 10% sugar by weight. Although for Coke and other soft drinks, this isn't 100% accurate because they're not pure sugar water solution. But for our purpose, it should work just fine, especially since we already tested the unfiltered Coke and Pepsi and the readings match the sugar content listed on the can. So around 12 to 13%. Okay, so here we go. We are going to place a couple drops of the filtered Coke onto the glass surface here. Get rid of the remainder there. Close this. It's going to spread that into a thin film, and then I'm going to hold it up to the light. So this is reading at 9%. So the filtered Coke is 9% sugar. Okay, so I'm going to just clean this gently with a soft cloth here. We've emptied this out. So now moving on to the filtered Pepsi. So grab a couple drops here. Same thing as with the filtered Coke. So that's spread across the surface there. And we're gonna look through into the light. So once again, this is like just a hair above 9%. So we're looking at 9% again. I'm going to call that 9%. It's just like ever so slightly above. Okay, so Coke and Pepsi, both 9% sugar according to this refractometer. I'm going to put this away and we're going to discuss our results. Okay, so we've tallied up our scores and it's almost a tie. 24 for the Coke and 23 for the Pepsi. So there you have it. Coke and Pepsi came out with nearly identical scores, meaning neither filtered significantly better than the other, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it. I mean, after all, the ingredients are almost identical. Our first filter war ends in a draw, and the battle between Coke and Pepsi continues, I'm afraid. But let's call this a win for science, shall we? Because even though the Brita Metro pitcher is designed for water, it still managed to remove some of the sugar taste and some of the color and flavor from both sodas. So it tells us it's doing something. But I have to be honest, I expected a little bit more because we tested the Brita Elite filter with a filtered and unfiltered sample of our tap water in a real lab. And Brita Elite removed 100% of the disinfection byproducts we tested for, all of them being organic compounds. So again, a little surprising that it didn't do more. Possibly it could have filtered in the first 1 or 2 ounces and then just gotten completely trashed by the soda. Remember, we did see it pour clearly for those first couple of ounces before we saw things turning a darker color. So that's one possibility, although it could also be that that clear water was residual water still left inside the filter from the priming process. All right, please smash that like button if you enjoyed this experiment. And remember to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell if you don't want to miss our next BOS Filter Wars video, where we'll have a cheap, mid-priced, and premium water filter pitcher compete in a soda filter challenge.